Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. Use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. I'm Dave Gasper. Holy cow. We got a lot to get to here. If you missed it, the end of that game that didn't end until 1:20 in the morning, I don't blame you. If you had to go to work in the morning, whatever it is, if you didn't stay up for the end of that, wow, you missed a lot. The Brewers were down by 4 at points in this game. This game was absolutely insane. It ends up being a 15-14 Brewers win in 12 innings. We had 5 billion ABS challenges, 11 home runs in this game, and somehow, some way, the Brewers came out on top in this one. You had an incredible moment from William Contreras in the 10th inning, a 3-run blast to dead center, 463 feet. He fell on his butt after swinging that, and you go up 4, and you're 1 out away from just having a scoreless 10th and just finishing this. And next thing you know, a base hit brings in a run. Next thing you know, a 2-run homer, and you're within a run. And then you get to Jonah Heim, who hits, as Jeff Levering called it, a pop-up to right. This thing was a 48-degree launch angle with a 95-mile-an-hour exit velocity. Now, that's why I saw the reports at. When you checked back a few minutes later on MLB Game Day and Savant, the batted ball data was nowhere to be found, which I found interesting. I mean, they were able to get the batted ball data for everything else. Why is that one mysteriously not there? But a 48-degree launch angle at 95 miles an hour, and somehow this thing just carries and ends up carrying over the fence for a game-tying home run. So you end up having to play 2 more innings until you decide a winner. This is an insane ballpark. I don't know how in the world anyone plays here in Las Vegas with this series being there. You knew that the environment was going to be hitter-friendly. Didn't realize it was going to be that hitter-friendly. Oh my goodness, the home runs that were getting hit, everything was just carrying out of the ballpark, and just so many no-doubters in this game out of the 11 home runs. This just destroyed the ERAs for basically everybody this whole game. The amount of hits that were here, the ABS challenges were also kind of insane, but that's almost even a sidebar at this point. This is a bandbox that they're playing in. They might as well have been playing in Hellfair Field the way that they were hitting. I mean, they were at a Little League park. That's what this game felt like the entire time. Anything hit in the air was getting out of the ballpark. And somehow this got approved by Major League Baseball. Perhaps after seeing something like this, it might be like, ooh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be playing in this Little League park until that new stadium that the Athletics are supposed to have is ready. Because this was just bad. This was just bad all. I mean, the hitters, I'm sure, enjoyed it. But to play 12 innings of this in the desert, no roof, with the heat, with the wind carrying the ball the way that it was, that's just something else. I don't even know how to properly describe what it was that we witnessed with that. Outside of it was just a Little League park. It was a bandbox that they're playing in. 11 home run. I mean, this was all sorts of records for the season in terms of offensive outputs, home runs, in terms of runs scored, everything. And of course, the Brewers end up winning on an RBI fielder's choice to the second baseman by Bryce Terang in the 12th inning. Christian Yelich stealing third, and then just going on the contact play and scoring. Throws wide, and the Brewers just got 1 run, but that was all that they needed. Chad Patrick shut it down in the 12th, got the save. Abner Uribe shut it down to have a scoreless 11. 2 scoreless innings in extras when you have the Manfred man on second. That's an impressive feat, especially given the way that the ball was flying. And the Brewers got down quite a bit early because Kyle Harrison had the worst start of his Brewers career. 7 earned runs on his ledger, could not make it through the third. A couple of defensive miscues that he had behind him, namely from Joey Ortiz. He had an error misplay there. There was one where Luis Rengifo kind of blocked him a little bit, and it seemed like Rengifo was getting the ball, but then he didn't, and Ortiz was right behind him, just kind of snuck through. Also, ground balls. I mean, it was bouncing like crazy. Anything hit in front of home plate, just bouncing off the dirt there, just bouncing super high. Just crazy amount of bounces with the field too. Just an insane field that we ended up having to deal with there. But how much can we really judge Kyle Harrison's start here? I mean, looking at this whole game and how insane the offense was, you think, all the success that Kyle Harrison's had, to have that, it's like, is it going to be coming back down to earth here for Kyle Harrison? But I really don't think we can judge too harshly here for Kyle Harrison. I mean, he has just been so good, and this ballpark clearly was causing issues for everyone. Now, Grant Anderson was able to come in and calm some things down, throw up some zeros, so that maybe changes things a little bit there. But also, I mean, this is kind of at elevation as well, so it's kind of like judging a pitcher off of his starts in Coors Field in Denver. So, you kind of take it with a bit of a grain of salt here. So I think Kyle Harrison's going to rebound. He obviously did not get to the 8 strikeouts that we were hoping for, but still, I don't think we can be too tough on Kyle Harrison with his lack of performance, I guess you could say, in this game. So that is going to make it tough. But we have learned quite a bit about the environment here, and as that is something we should take into account as we look here on Kalshi, because on Kalshi you can trade every single game, and yeah, Kyle Harrison not with the 8+ strikeouts, but I'm looking at the total runs scored here for this game on Tuesday night, because the weather is supposed to be pretty similar to what it was on Monday in terms of the heat, in terms of the wind, and you can take this total up to 15.5 runs. So it's like regularly set at 12.5, which you can kind of get, I think, like 56%, but you can get it up to 15.5 runs. Currently trading at 26% on Kalshi. And I think I'm going to take it all the way up there, because that means a $100 trade pays out $358 should this game reach over 15.5 runs. Now, keep in mind, the game here on Monday night that bled into Tuesday had 29 runs. So I'm feeling pretty good about the chances here, about 26% for 15.5 runs in this game. So that's where I'm looking. Whatever offensive stats, numbers, things you want to look at here, the over is going to be a very good trading opportunity, I will say. But I'm looking at the total over 15.5, currently trading at 26%. So that would be a massive win there, because on Kalshi you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10 KALSHI Kalshi trade on anything. All right, got to talk about some other kind of logistical things here that the Brewers have made with their roster. Joe Kunal, who we saw make his Major League debut. He has been activated, not Major League debut, his Brewers debut. But Kunal has been activated. The Brewers acquired him the other day for cash considerations, and as I expected, since he was with the Athletics, he just kind of met the team in Las Vegas and just went to the Brewers clubhouse. And Craig Yoho is the one who gets optioned out to make room. Yoho had a couple of those games there in Denver, but he ends up getting sent back down after just a handful of appearances. And look, Kunal, I'm expecting to largely be the new Jake Woodford. And that's kind of basically what he was in. He was kind of in some mop-up duty there in the later innings when the Brewers were down. But then, of course, the Brewers ended up coming back in this game late, as they have been known to do, especially lately. So Kunal comes in, and he has, maybe this is on me for not doing as much background work on Kunal as I thought, but dude has triple digits. He's got a triple digit sinker. He had the fastest, or for a while there, he had the fastest pitch of the night in this game until Abner Uribe came in. But he had 100.5 miles an hour on his sinker. So Kunal can reach back and get there. I mean, he's 290 pounds, tall guy, big, thick, and he's got the velo behind it. I'd like to apologize to Joel Kunal. I mean, I was unfamiliar with your game. I did not know he had triple digits in him, but sure enough, he does. And he did pretty well there until he gave up a home run. But there were a lot of home runs given up. Again, how much can we really judge these guys on it? But Craig Yoho getting sent down. It really does make you wonder how much the Brewers actually believe in the Craig Yoho hype versus the hype that everyone else has given him, that we have given him in the media. There is nothing left for Craig Yoho to prove in AAA. Nothing. He has dominated everyone down there. You got to give him some sort of extended run at the big league level. They may not believe that he's ultimately going to be good at the big league level, but I think you got to give him some run to prove it. Right? Like he's only gotten a handful of appearances. He's never stuck around super long at the big league level. It's kind of similar to Tyler Black in some sense, where it's like there's nothing left for him to do at AAA. He just needs that shot, just needs that opportunity at the big league level, and has not gotten it. So I'd like to see him get some extended run at some point, but the Brewers just may not be as high on Craig Yoho as everyone else has been. So that's something to maybe grapple with here, maybe something to look at as trade deadline season is coming. Now, I would love for the Brewers to actually keep him, but we've also seen this a couple times before where there have been some relief guys coming up that the Brewers have traded away, but they've also been successful upon leaving. Lucas Erceg. Remember when he was transitioning to being a pitcher and the Brewers said we don't have a spot for him, so they shipped him to the Athletics and he became really, really good over there. Drew Rasmussen, came up for a little bit in the Brewers bullpen. They traded him for Willy Adames. Drew Rasmussen has been really, really good since the Brewers have traded him. Now, the Brewers, I don't think, regret trading Rasmussen away. They got some great years out of Willy Adames, but Lucas Erceg, they gave him up for pennies on the dollar for basically what he would become. That was some unrealized value there from the Brewers pitching lab. So he came through for someone else. I'm wondering if the same thing could end up happening for Craig Yoho if the Brewers don't want to really give him an extended look in their bullpen. The Brewers didn't want to give Lucas Erceg a look in their bullpen. That's why they traded him. So could the same thing happen with Yoho? I'm just throwing it out there. That may be a possibility as we get closer to the trade deadline here coming up in July and actually early August. So something to look forward to potentially there. Also, kind of another housekeeping note here. Carlos Rodriguez, who had been optioned down back on May 31st, was dealing with an injury a little bit when he was optioned. So what the Brewers have done is they have rescinded that option and placed Carlos Rodriguez on the injured list. Now, we don't know for sure at the moment what the injury is, but that was labeled on the Brewers transaction page that option was rescinded and that he was placed on the Major League Injured List, retroactive to the 31st there. So they are typically an IL stint retroactive is only allowed up to 3 days. But they're able to do it a bit more this time because of the option and just kind of the technical factors there. So they are allowed to backdate it to that. But Carlos Rodriguez on the injured list. So that means if you're looking at the Brewers 40-man roster depth that they have down in AAA Nashville, what they have left for pitching is Easton McGee and now Craig Yoho being optioned out. Those are the only two 40-man pitchers down in AAA Nashville that they have left. So they have been using up pretty much all of their starting pitching depth, all of the pitching depth that they have down there. They've got so many guys on the IL now. Let's make that is now 9 pitchers on the IL for the Brewers. You got Carlos Rodriguez, Angel Zerpa, Rob Z, Jared Koenig, DL Hall, Brian Fitzpatrick, Brandon Woodruff, Quinn Priester, and Logan Henderson. Koenig should hopefully be back soon, but Rob Z could be a while. Zerpa's out for the year. Brian Fitzpatrick, they haven't said, but he's likely out for the year. Woodruff, who knows? Henderson's going to be closer to a month. Priester, who knows? So you got a lot of guys in that pitching staff that are going to be out for quite a while. 9 pitchers now on the IL for the Crew. So that's tough, and they're going to need pitching to get through this series against the A's in Las Vegas, because my goodness, that place is a bandbox. But we'll continue to break it down here on Brewers Daily, so be sure to subscribe and get notified, and follow me on Twitter as well at dgasper24. Appreciate all of you watching and listening, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.